Her mother compelled the African-American lady to sign a separation document. Then he discovered her father was a hidden tycoon. The steady rhythm of the antique clock echoed through the stifling quiet of the Harrington Manors library. Its brass pendulum swayed side to side, a harsh reminder that time was slipping away for Emma Larson. She sat at the vast walnut table, her quivering fingers grazing the rims of the parchment divorce agreement before her, her heart constricting as she fought back tears, her sight clouded. "Sign it." The tone was icy, cutting like a blade. Across from her sat Eleanor Harrington, the matriarch of the influential Harrington clan. The elderly woman's neatly styled grey hair and flawless navy gown lent her an aura of unassailable power. Pearls shimmered at her neck, but her face held no warmth, only contempt. "You've shamed this family long enough," Eleanor declared, her voice steady yet laced with scorn. "It's time you depart, silently with whatever pride you still possess." Emma's pulse thundered so loudly she could barely hear. 2 years earlier, Emma had been enchanted by Lucas Harrington, the charismatic, driven heir to the Harrington wealth. He'd been different then, kind, affectionate, bold enough to defy his family's snobbery. Or so she believed. When Lucas introduced Emma, an African-American woman from a humble background, to the Harrington estate for the first time, she felt the bite of Eleanor's frosty grin. "A woman like you could never grasp our world," Eleanor had confided that evening. Yet Emma had persisted. She endured the murmurs at high society galas, the snide comments about her looks, her speech, her lack of refinement. She loved Lucas enough to stay, until now. Lucas. Emma's voice broke as she turned to her husband, yearning, pleading for a trace of the man she wed. He stood by the high window, hands in his pockets, his Besby. Okay, suit pristine. But his expression was distant, his jaw rigid. "Don't gaze at me like that, Emma," he snapped. "You've made this more difficult than it had to be." Her breath hitched. "Difficult? I sacrificed everything for you. My friends, my job, my kin. I thought we were forging a future together." Lucas sneered. "A future together, or a future you latched onto because you thought marrying me would fix all your troubles?" The words struck like a blow. Eleanor leaned closer, her voice low and biting. "You were never suitable for him, Emma. You don't fit in this family, in this world. Sign the document and we'll ensure you're paid enough to begin anew far from here." Emma stared at the pen in her hand, her mind racing. "If I sign this, I lose everything. The man I cherish, the life I envisioned. But if I don't..." She glanced at Lucas one final time. "Do you truly want this?" His gaze hardened. "You're not the woman I thought you were. Perhaps my mother was right all along." Emma's tears flowed freely now, leaving dark marks on her ivory blouse. Her hands trembled fiercely as she grasped the pen. The room felt tighter, the walls pressing in. "They want to erase me like I was, nothing, like I never mattered." Yet deep within, a soft voice murmured, "You'll prove them wrong someday." With a final breath, she signed her name. Eleanor smiled faintly, pleased. "Good choice. Now collect your belongings. Someone will guide you out." Emma rose slowly, her legs unsteady. Her eyes lingered on Lucas, silently begging him to stop her, to say something, anything. But he turned away. That was the last thing she saw before exiting the Harrington estate. The man she adored staring out the window, unmoved by her anguish. What they didn't know, as Emma stepped into the chilly night air, clutching her, coat around her, she didn't know how she'd endure. But what the Harringtons didn't know was that Ma's quiet resilience came from more than just her love for Lucas. She hailed from a legacy of strength, and soon she would uncover a secret about her own family, a secret that would shake the Harringtons' world to its core. If you're enjoying this tale so far, don't forget to subscribe and share where you're watching from in the comments. 2 years. That's how long it had been since Emma left the Harrington estate, gripping her, coat around her trembling frame, her signature still fresh on the divorce papers that shattered her world. 2 years since Eleanor Harrington smirked across a polished walnut table and told her she wasn't worthy. 2 years since Lucas, her husband, the man she once believed cherished her, turned his back on her, his cold detachment cutting deeper than any words. But the woman approaching the estate gates today wasn't the same Emma. This Emma didn't waver. She didn't lower her gaze. She didn't plead for love or acceptance. This Emma had forged herself anew, and she wasn't here to beg. The Harrington family had seen better days. Their investments had collapsed under a series of poor decisions. The once proud Harrington name, synonymous with riches and influence, was now mentioned in boardrooms as a warning. Lucas sat at the head of the conference table, his suit impeccable, but his eyes vacant. Eleanor sat beside him, her pearls as perfect as ever, though her grip on her teacup was tense. "We need this acquisition," Eleanor said, her voice sharp with desperation. "If Larson Enterprises doesn't approve this partnership, the Harrington legacy is done." Lucas exhaled slowly. "They'll come. They have to." The double doors opened. Silence fell over the room as a woman entered, her heels clicking against the marble floor. It was Emma, but not the Emma they recalled. Gone was the trembling, tearful young woman in a creased blouse. This Emma wore a tailored ivory suit that embraced her form like armor. Her natural hair was styled in an elegant updo, and diamond studs sparkled in her ears. She carried herself with the effortless poise of someone who commanded every room she entered. Behind her walked a tall man with silver hair and a presence that seemed to shift the air around him. His custom suit whispered wealth in every thread. Eleanor's eyes widened. Charles Larson. The man gave her a courteous but distant nod. "Good afternoon, Mrs. Harrington." Lucas's face paled. "You're her father." "Yes," Charles said calmly. "I'm Emma's father." "I thought it was time we spoke." Eleanor's voice sharpened. "Why didn't you reveal yourself earlier? Why let your daughter marry into this family without telling us who you were?" Emma stepped forward, her voice steady. "Because I wanted to be loved for who I was, not for what I had. But instead of embracing me, you judged me, ridiculed me, cast me out." Her eyes locked on Lucas, who couldn't meet her gaze. "And you," she said softly, her voice quivering, not with fragility, but with contained anger. "You stood there and let them degrade me. You believed I was nothing without you. But the truth is, you were nothing without me." Lucas flinched. Charles pulled out a folder and placed it on the table. "I'm purchasing your company's debt, effective immediately. Larson Enterprises owns controlling interest in Harrington Industries." Eleanor's mouth fell open. "You can't." "Oh, I can," Charles interrupted smoothly. "And I will, but don't worry. We'll keep you on as consultants." Emma tilted her head slightly, her calm gaze sweeping over her ex-mother-in-law and ex-husband. "Consider it my way of ensuring no one else endures what I did here." As the reality sank in, Lucas stood abruptly. "Emma, wait. I was wrong. I let my mother sway me. I never stopped loving you." Emma's lips curved into a faint, almost wistful smile. "Love doesn't stay silent when the world is tearing you apart, Lucas. Love doesn't stand by and watch you sink." His voice cracked. "Please, give me another chance." Emma shook her head. "I gave you every chance in the world, and you taught me that sometimes love isn't enough." Eleanor's voice was a harsh whisper now. "You think you're better than us because of your father's wealth?" Emma met her gaze with unwavering calm. "No, I'm better because I learned to value people. Not their riches, not their status, but their hearts. Something you never grasped." Emma turned to leave, her heels clicking against the floor like the closing of a chapter. As she reached the door, she paused and looked back one last time. "Thank you," she said softly. Lucas frowned. "For what?" "For teaching Me, how strong I really am. That evening, Emma sat on the balcony of her father's estate overlooking the city skyline. Her phone buzzed. It was an email from the board of Larson Enterprises. Congratulations, Emma Larson. As of today, you are officially CEO. She smiled, her tears this time warm and proud. Emma had lost everything once, but she'd rebuilt herself, not as a Harrington, not as someone's wife, but as her own woman. And she would never let anyone take that from her again. If this story touched your heart, be sure to like the video and subscribe for more powerful, emotional, and surprising stories. And tell us in the comments where you're watching from. We love hearing your stories too. Until next time, stay kind, stay inspired, and keep watching.